What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the 5280 podcast on the MHRT Network. I'm your host, as always, Mundungus Creevy, alongside my co-host, Cameron. Screw the playoffs. I'm going to go to the Senior Bowl. Parker and Gage, I'll take my shirt off for playoff tickets. Madrid, how are we doing, gentlemen?
Yes, subscribe my OnlyFans.
No, we're good. A lot has happened in the 2 weeks. I was gonna say a lot has happened. We encountered some loss, but we also got a gain, and so exciting time. I hope you guys, Mike and Gage, I hope you guys had a good Christmas. But it was definitely nice to be off, if you will, for that week and just kind of enjoy it with family.
Yeah, I like to get off as much as I can.
I'm still grinding over on Broncos Syndicate, but I've gotten a couple of days off, and tomorrow got my 26th birthday, so that's going to be really exciting. Yep. Fire off the balloons, all the fireworks, all that good stuff. But yes, it's been a good holiday season and really excited for what's to come with the Denver Broncos. Like Cam said, a lot has happened since we were last live. We've had 2 games, one going our way, the other not going our way. And now we've got an excellent situation coming up against the Chargers where we're playing against backups for a chance to secure the number 1 seed in the AFC. Life is good, man.
Yep.
And obviously we are left unsupervised again because Glenn Hauser ran out of tapioca pudding at home, so he had to run to the store to go get some.
He's got a real job.
Sure. We think he does. Just wait until he gets the mail I'm going to send him. All right. So Cam brought it up, so we'll run with it. We hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. I know that lots of people want to see their podcasts and want to talk their sports and talk their football, but honestly, man, we're not doing that on Christmas Day. But I hope everybody had a great Christmas Day. I think we did because we won, but I want to go back to that Jags game first. Because it had been 11 games since we lost a game. And then honestly, the game wasn't even that close. People can say what they want, but the Broncos shouldn't have even been that close to the Jags at any point in that game. No. We did not play well at all.
No.
The worst part of the whole thing is we talk about how the offense has been holding this team back. It's the defense now. They flipped, and it's really annoying.
It is.
Well, and I think that if there's anything to kind of nitpick a little bit of stuff as far as the last handful of weeks, if you will, and even dating back to last year, it's that the theme of this defense is kind of taken a bit of a step back. You look last year, the defense kind of took a bit of a step back, and so it forced the offense to really kind of kick it into high gear, and they played quite well, last year. But what's happening this year? You're seeing exactly the same thing. You're seeing exactly the same thing play out, and it's wild. It's a wild change of events. So I say all that. I don't mean to kind of turn this into the idea of we'll have a Vance Joseph conversation of head coaching and everything. But do I think he has a very strong consideration for jobs still? I very much believe so. But if you are looking at the whole picture, it's the one thing that would probably be the kink in that armor for him not getting a job could be the way that things are finishing out on a season. But nonetheless, I mean, the Broncos, for all it's worth, for struggling as much as they have in the defensive fashion, have set themselves up quite nicely for this number 1 seed, which, is very fitting for a team that probably badly needs this home field advantage.
I think what's frustrating for me is the lack of schematic adjustments on the defensive side of the ball to compensate for your deficiencies. The missed tackles have been an issue in the last 2 games. The lack of contain on the edge is a big problem. You've got to keep the quarterback in the pocket, especially when he's a mobile guy. They failed to do that with Trevor Lawrence. To an extent, they failed to do that with Chris Oladokun last week. And now we've got another mobile quarterback coming up with Trey Lance, which we'll discuss a little bit later on. But regardless, man, these defensive issues that are creeping up, they can be the death of your football team in the playoffs. And This has got to get figured out and fast. I'm not sure if the answer is 100% schematic changes or, hell, maybe even some personnel changes at this point, but something needs to be done in order for this to be fixed. And thankfully, I'm not the guy who's getting paid to figure that stuff out, because there are a couple of different ways that you can approach it.
Yep.
Vance Joseph, if he wants to be a head coach next year, he's got to get it figured out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's a little shocking is, as great as our pass rush has been throughout the season, we've been talking all year about, they're going to break that Bears record for sacks. The pass rush is just not getting home. They're just not getting there. And on top of that, Denver's ranked 25th in forced turnovers. We're getting no turnovers by the defense.
Yeah, but I think that like the forced turnover stuff has been something that's been there even when the pass rush was getting there. So it was just something that it wasn't going their way for the whole season. So it wasn't like something that's been during this stretch. They haven't gotten any turnovers. They haven't really gotten any turnovers for the whole year. So yeah, that is probably still the biggest problem. But I think some of it too is like, with them not being able to get to the quarterback is, I think we saw it a few times, if you will, when it comes to the Kansas City game, or even with, the teams they played the last couple weeks. The teams are raising their level of play. We are playing down to the competition, but we are, I should say, like, teams are kind of rising their level of play. So basically, in essence, like Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonito, the most part, are getting chipped more often than not. So it's almost like they're getting semi-eliminated from the play, and it's kind of causing them to not really create a little bit much of that disruption as much as they would like to.
I would agree with that, but I'd also say that the lack of pressure on the interior from guys outside of Zach Allen is also a concern. John Franklin Myers isn't getting home as much, and I would say that DJ Jones and Malcolm Roach, it's kind of the same thing. Malcolm Roach a little bit better than DJ Jones, which you would expect. Roach is more of the pass rusher, but I would say that outside of Zach Allen, the interior defensive line has been playing at a pretty low level in that department right now.
Yeah, and even Bonito and Cooper are just not – they're not getting there. And I don't know – are they playing more zone than man over these last couple of games? Because it really looks like they are.
They're playing both, but I feel like I'm still seeing a lot of man on critical downs, like third down, red zone. Would you agree, Cam?
Yeah, but I think there's also a little bit of a bigger part here, and it's probably something to at least pass along, and that is you're seeing a little bit more substitutions in the season, like when it comes to the Broncos as well. So it's one where I think that like the substitutions really are maybe kind of not ramping up their reps, if you will, as much as they would like to getting, to the quarterback. Like, frankly, I would say it's impressive that Zach Allen has most of his QB hits this year, as far as he had last year, for the lack of snap usage that he's been had. Like, for instance, John Franklin Myers, maybe this is a bad example because it could trigger him not necessarily being on the Bronco next year. But in that Chiefs game, he only had like 11 snaps in that Chiefs game. Like, it was very bizarre. So it's just one where I think that the snap usage has been, and frankly, maybe that is something that could be a good thing for this defense because of all this swapping and everything. The idea is that come playoff time, and obviously the Broncos will be there, they need their fresh legs. And maybe once the playoff happens, that's when you start to see a little bit more relentless action from this defense and this pass rush, because they are a little bit more fresh due to that.
That's an excellent point, because think about it. You're going to probably be playing more snaps this year than you did last year. And the load management thing was something Sean Payton emphasized. Zach Allen got a metric fuck ton of snaps last year. Mm-hmm. He was on the field a ton. And Peyton said that's not sustainable long term. So I totally understand that point, and quite frankly, I'm hoping that's what it is. And come playoff time, we can turn these cats loose once again and let them really get after the quarterback, because that's the formula for winning in the playoffs, is getting after the opposing quarterback, forcing sacks, forcing turnovers, which again Denver needs to get better at, and on the offensive side of the ball, of course, running the football, all of that good stuff. But the main thing is playing good defense, and the fact is Denver hasn't played consistently good defense in a month now. Mm-hmm. That needs to get cleaned up and fast.
Yeah, and I do. We talk about Alex Singleton and his coverage and how bad he is in it, but I feel like over the last 4 games, he's really stepped his game up a little bit, right? Like it feels like he's more all over the place. He's the one that's figuring out tackling while other people's are starting to miss. Last game we didn't have Drake Greenlaw, so you put Sternot in there. I just didn't feel like there was a huge drop-off between Greenlaw and Sternot, at least in the last game. But it was the Chiefs, and they were a lot injured. But I do feel like we're starting to talk about Singleton in a positive light more than in the negative light.
I don't know. I think if you look at some of the big problems for this defense the last couple of weeks, it's been the miscommunication of their number 2 problems right now. Their number 1 problem and their number 2 problem. And that's Alex Singleton and Riley Moss. There's been some miscommunication. And that's the other side of this too with this defense, is having miscommunication on coverages and everything this late. That's a problem. That is a big problem. And when you have Alex Singleton, whose coverage really isn't that great, but thinking he has safety help behind him, and he possibly doesn't. And so because of that, it frees a tight end, coming across, and he's wide open. The tight end is wide open. They're going to get some free yards all the time on Alex Singleton.
Like all the green dot. Sorry.
Is that Singleton's problem, issue though?
Yes.
Because you would think that he would know whether there's going to be safety help behind him or not.
It should be on him because he's the green dot. He is the defensive play caller.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. You would think that he would know that, right? So is it a Singleton problem or is it a safety problem? Because the safeties aren't getting where they're supposed to be.
I mean,
that's the question.
I don't know, but based on the one game where Singleton was out of the lineup, we didn't really see this shit. Nope. And every game that Singleton's been in the lineup, we see these problems. And the missed tackles with him are still a problem. He just doesn't have the athleticism. He knows that. He understands that. We just kind of have to live with Singleton's deficiencies at this point in time. I think Denver's done a good job. I've said they've struggled with lack of schematic adjustments, but one area they have been good at is limiting Singleton being in one-on-one situations in coverage, because that's just not fair to him. He cannot cover a running back out of the backfield. He knows he can't do it. The team knows he can't do it, so they haven't really asked him to do any of that stuff. Having Dre Greenlaw back has helped. Last week, Justin Sternod really stepped up in that category, and I'm hoping he continues to do so if Greenlaw is going to remain out of the lineup this coming week, which it kind of looks like he might be out of the lineup until the playoffs. Yeah. He should be, exactly. Yeah. So, quite frankly, I think that these problems, they stem to Singleton, Riley Moss, and another guy who has made some excellent plays. Don't get me wrong. He has made some awesome plays here in a Broncos uniform. But Niners fans warned us about this with Talanoa Hufanga. He'll whiff on some tackles, he'll blow his coverage assignments, and he'll be responsible for some chunk plays in the secondary. Overall, I'd say his splash plays and his positive plays have made up for it, but there are certain plays where Hufanga is looking around kind of like, I thought you had him. No, I thought you had him. Or he'll get a stupid penalty. We've had issues with that in certain games. I love Huff, and I love what he's brought to the table. Don't get me wrong, but there are just certain plays with him where you've got to shelter the blame to him, and it's just not good.
Yeah, but I will say that kind of comes with the territory of him, you know.
Sure.
But I would say I think if we're going to be talking about some blame in terms of Hufanga, that is pretty low on that list compared to some of these guys like Riley Moss of late and, and Alex Singleton and maybe PJ Locke at times specifically.
But PJ did play well against Kansas City.
Yeah. I would say that relatively speaking, the defense did a pretty impressive job, all things considered. The only thing I would just say specific to the Kansas City game is the run defense should never be that leaky, right? And I think that the Broncos run defense, at least in this last handful of weeks, if you will, has been suspect to that. And so maybe that's just the sign that, I don't know, they should re-sign John Franklin Myers or whatever, and then draft another defensive lineman or whatever. But it's just, they're too good of a unit. That's the thing, is like they are too good of a unit to have some of these runs be, sprung off for 6 yards every single time on a pop or every other pop, if you will. They're too good for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think one of the things that annoys me so much is you look at that first Broncos Chiefs game, right? We were scoring points, didn't really have a problem. The Chiefs were scoring points, but they were struggling to do so. Then you get to the second game where we're basically playing a bunch of backups, and we struggled worse than we did against the starters. Why?
I have a theory about that. Are you talking specific to the offensive side of the ball?
Either or. Like we just got done talking about the defense, right? Like we know the defense is having problems. But you also have a defense that's playing Travis Kelce that's not the Travis Kelce of old. They didn't have Rashee Rice. They had a third-string quarterback that's never taken a snap before. Why are we struggling so much?
I think that Sean, and this is probably relative to playing down to opponents, doesn't want to show his hand against some opponents. But I also think that when you look schematically to the game that the Broncos had against the Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo was their coach for the defensive side of the ball. And if you're talking about sitting players, I would say, relatively speaking, the Chiefs did have a couple corners missing, and everything. But with where they were, what they were doing, the Kansas City Chiefs, they were eliminating the big play downfield all game. And so what does Sean Payton and Bo Nix and and Joe Lombardi and Davis Webb, what do? They concoct a game plan that is, okay, we're going to beat you in the intermediate middle part of the game, which is a Bo Nix specialty at this point in his career, specific to this year, and then at sometimes last year. And so what do? They literally beat them by being methodical, running the football, and getting first downs. They had 18 third downs in that game and converted 11 of them. That is an absurd number of third downs in a game. And then converting 11 of that, which resulted in about 62% third down, that is an absurd rate to have. And so I just think that the Broncos just offense with what they were given and the opportunities that they were given, not just in the Chiefs game, but when they do play down to a competition, I think it might be just due to that they're kind of just, they don't want to bring a little bit too much, and so when it comes to games against the Packers or games where they really need to have it, that's where you really start to see the aggressiveness from Sean a little bit more.
Yeah. And I think offensively, you hit it on the head, Cam. We were moving the ball at a ridiculous rate. They were converting. They were converting third downs. They were converting fourth downs. It was awesome. But they couldn't finish drives. That was the problem. They were settling for field goals, or they were just stalling out and not converting on fourth down in the red zone. That needs to get cleaned up, but I don't think that's a big problem per se. You just had a couple of plays that didn't bounce your way, but you had plenty of plays that were picking up chunk plays. The run game, it continues to be feast or famine, I would say. RJ Harvey has a knack for getting into the end zone, but between the 20s, he still struggles with vision at times. He still struggles with other issues, but I think that overall we still have a lot of really positive things to be happy about on the offense. And Jaleel McLaughlin, man, he has emerged over these last couple of weeks and is really looking good. So I'd like to see more Jaleel, and we're probably going to get J.K. Dobbins back pretty soon. Hopefully, fingers, toes, and balls crossed on that one.
I don't know if I'm crossing my balls. I'll cross my fingers and my toes, though. I do have 2 complaints, and each one of them is a penalty. That offsides call that Denver got, they didn't even move. It was on the Chiefs, and they called it on, was it Ben Powers?
Yeah,
you mean the false start? I was like,
start.
Yeah,
like that. He didn't move.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't even make sense. And then they called pass interference. Was it on PS2? And it wasn't pass interference.
That one was pretty bad.
That one was really bad. I mean, the one they say that whenever they do this, the pass wasn't catchable. Brother, that thing was like 10 yards down the field, and Surtain is already out of bounds. So I mean, like, that thing was not catchable, and it didn't even look like pass interference to boot.
So hand fighting, like
So, and then you also know it's bad when it comes to the false start penalty, that it starts to get a little bit of some national attention. So, like, if you go look at like some like Instagram reels or something like that, that play specifically like was starting to get some national attention of like, bro, is the NFL really rigged, or what is their problem with officiating? Because you do see it clear as day. It's like Powers didn't even move. He did this like little hand thing that they never call.
He does every play,
and it's
he's in his stance. That's not a false start,
right? Yeah. So
my big thing is, like, I understand that if a coach or a player criticizes a ref, they get fined, right? But you've got Sean Payton, who's making, I believe, the second most amount of money per year as a coach. Rip into the ref. Like, you can afford the fine. You got to do something, because they keep picking on either Riley Moss or PS2 for reasons I don't understand. Rip into him.
I mean, he kind of did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. But I will say though, I think that relatively speaking, and for where we're at, Denver's still a really, I would say I say all of this with some of the complaints. Denver is still a really good football team. They are still a darn good football team too. I would even just say for the running back room, I think we are starting to see a little bit better play from RJ Harvey, in my opinion. I think we're seeing a little bit better play from RJ Harvey, even between the tackles, because there are moments where my biggest complaint with Jaleel is I don't think he's elusive enough. With RJ Harvey, one of my biggest complaints is, does he have the toughness to fight for more yards? Between the 20s, that is something over the last couple of weeks Harvey has actually gotten exceptionally better in. So, and then he's starting to see, he's running a little bit at times into some defenders, but I think that when you're a young player like that, and it's your first year, when you have that kind of capability and you're starting to show that growth, that does far more for you down the line than actually hurt you. And the fact we're seeing him being used in a bit of a skill set already, like Alvin Kamara, should tell you that, man, he is going to be an absolute threat for this team in the passing game moving forward as things evolve. This offense evolves even more, because there's an argument to be made. He is the second best receiving option for this Denver Broncos team.
I agree. Like, in the passing game, I've been exceptionally impressed with RJ Harvey, and that's where I want them to really lean into things with him and truly use him in that joker role. Like, he can be the joker for this team. He can open up this offense mismatch-wise in so many different ways. And he's hard to bring down, man. He is definitely hard to bring down. He does fight for yardage. I will give him credit there. My concerns are with the vision and him sometimes running into his blockers. He's gotten a little better these past couple of weeks also of not bouncing everything to the outside. That's something I've noticed on tape with him. He's not immediately panicking and bouncing out. He's at least trying to wait a little bit for something to develop, but it's just got to get better and better, which I am confident it will with time. Hopefully, though, we can get Dobbins back, who can manufacture a lot more production in between the 20s. And then in the red zone, it's RJ Harvey time, baby. Let him loose. Or just as a third down back. He's an excellent pass protector. I've loved his pass protection over these last couple of weeks too. So there is a lot to be impressed with RJ Harvey. And I do kind of get labeled at times as a Harvey hater. And I don't feel like I at times give him enough credit for what he does well. So I want to do that right now.
Yeah. Well, and with all the love that we're showing RJ Harvey, we're also very, very excited to get J.K. Dobbins back for that reason. Yeah. You get J.K. Dobbins running in the middle, and then you get RJ Harvey on the outside catching passes inside the 20s in the red zone. That's when you're going to get the most out of RJ Harvey. So I think that's
you know, but I think that, you know, if there's anything though that it does force that, like it kind of may force the Broncos' hand where, you know, maybe they do bring J.K. Dobbins back on that, you know, 1-year deal or whatever. You know, and another 1-year deal, or they reach for the stars and, you know, bring Breece Hall in or something. But I just think that overall we should be really impressed with how far along this Broncos team really has come in the absence of J.K. Dobbins. Because I think that with what you're seeing, because of maybe the explosiveness in the running game with it being gone with J.K., you're seeing the extensions of the running game in that passing game where those mountaintop swings or whatever, those screenplays that you were starting to see at the beginning of the year that were so ineffective, you're starting to see them be a little bit more effective because they shortened down the route a little bit, allowing RJ Harvey to get the ball so we can be able to see a little bit more in space. So like it's starting to be a little bit more of an extension in the running game, and it is very, very effective. And, you know, I think that, you know, all in all, it has been a pretty impressive performance still from the offense, despite some problems the last couple weeks.
For sure.
And we talk about some of those problems. You look at ones that have kind of occurred all season long, right? Like the offense seems to get clicking, seems to get going, and then drop a ball.
Yep.
And then we get going and then drop a ball. And then we get going, and it seems like it rotates every game, right? Like one game it'll be Franklin, one game it'll be Bryant, one game it'll be Mims, one game it'll be Sutton, and it just keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Even Ingram, right? Because you look at the most amount of dropped balls on the team, it's Ingram.
Yeah.
Followed by Sutton.
Yeah. But
and again, like we've talked about Cortland Sutton. I love Cortland Sutton. He's going to get 1,000 yards this season. I don't think
he's at 1,000 yards now.
I thought he was right under it.
He's at it now.
He's at 1,000. Love Cortland Sutton, but dropping the ball on a third down, on a fourth down, on an easy catch, when the ball hits you in the hands, that's the reason why there are a lot of Broncos fans out there saying, yeah, he's number one on the Broncos, but he's not a number one receiver.
Yeah. And it's our criticisms that we've had for him. And I know you called it out in the chat, Mike, but it's like, but we also didn't see this from Sutton, you know, at the midway point to even the last couple of weeks. We really didn't see all that much from Sutton as far as the aggressiveness with drops. These last handful of weeks, it's been really bad with Sutton. The regularity for what we're seeing with the Sutton drops has been really bad. But I will say this though. That specific game, the Christmas Day game, I was seeing some obnoxious Sutton hate though. like so much so that like we're bringing narratives out of the woodwork that aren't even true. Meaning stuff that's like, he's been trashed this whole year. He's nothing but not even a meaningful player on this team. That's the kind of stuff that that's the one where we really need to step back as a fan base and not be that emotional and that reactionary when it comes to games. Because Cortland Sutton, these last couple seasons, relatively speaking, has given the Broncos everything they could have asked for since 2019. He had his first back-to-back season of 1,000 yards, right? Like, that is just absolutely mind-numbing, the fact that we are seeing the Broncos fan base turn on him after such a bad, last couple weeks or whatever it is. So it's just getting obnoxious. I acknowledge the fact that his drops have been ridiculous the last handful of weeks, for sure. And, there's moments I don't.
But that's the thing, right? Like, again, I love Sutton. I hope he stays a Bronco.
Yeah.
But the only consistent thing that he's done through the season is drop the ball. And I'm not saying it's a lot, but I'm saying, like, I think he went from second on the team and drops to first after that Christmas game because he had like 4 in the first quarter.
He was bad. It was
bad. But as good as he is making those impossible catches in corner of the end zone, side of the end zone, making these miraculous catches,
the routine also
seems to struggle. Like, every game, it's like one throw where it's like it hits you right in the hands. I don't understand why you didn't catch that ball. Like, it just seems like, I don't know. Like, you can't look at Courtland Sutton and say, oh, well, that's, he's up there with Justin Jefferson. He's up there with Jamar Chase. He's up. What I'm saying?
No.
And again, I don't think anybody's putting him in that class. I'm just saying, like, I think at this point that's what Denver's missing. Is that, like, you love Courtland Sutton, you love Troy Franklin, you love Marvin Mims, you love Pat Bryant, but we still don't have that guy. And you can look at Courtland Sutton and say he's the best receiver the Broncos have, but that doesn't mean he's the best we can get. You know what I mean?
No, you're not wrong.
I agree. Like, that's why the Broncos have been interested in guys like Jalen Waddle or even Stephon Diggs, which it now seems like they may have dodged a bullet when it comes to Diggs.
He got mad because his chef wasn't even making him the right food. He's like,
I didn't even read into what happened, bro. That's what fucking happened.
I don't know all I know is that he was, what was it? Was it charged with attempted strangulation,
right?
Yeah, it was.
He screwed
strangled
himself.
His chef is basically what it was. Like, he was choking him.
He screwed himself at the wrong possible time. If you're a Patriots fan.
After, like, all that big talk during the Patriots game, he's such a good guy, such a team player. He comes home and is like, "You made the wrong spaghettios." Like,
yo. Yeah. Okay, so Denver definitely avoided a headache there, but trust me, I'm in full agreement that Denver needs like an alpha number one fucking dude. And
I think that's part. Sorry, Gage. I think that's part of the frustration, right? Is like we're naming all these guys that we love as wide receivers. They could be great. However, it seems like every game or every other game, it's like, why the hell did you drop that ball? Like, it's 3rd and 4, and you were at the first down marker, and it hit you in the hands. Why didn't you catch it? And again, it's not just Sutton; it's all of them. Like, and Pat Bryant has gotten way better, right? Like, I think he's probably got the surest hands on the team.
Marvin Mims would agree
when
too.
He first started out, there were a couple games there where like, what in God's name was that? Same thing with Troy Franklin, right? Like, seems like he's on a couple games, and then there's a game or two where it's like, what was that? And then he's back on another couple games.
The one thing I will say though is I think that this is where it kind of fits into though who Sean Payton himself is. Like, it's just like, because no, but I'm just saying, like, when you look at just his history, I really think that if you look at it from the standpoint of he had Michael Thomas for 4 years, but if you actually want a guy and actually like the guy to be the focal point of a wide receiver one that is dominant for more than 4 years, that's all we're asking. Anybody that wants to bring Michael Thomas into this argument of this, I think is misguided whenever they bring that up because, well, one, he dealt with injuries, at no fault of his own, but like he was solid for 4 years. That's it. We need a guy that can be consistent for beyond that. And I think for Sean Payton, and you look at relative to his career and everything that he's had, he has not had a wide receiver one like a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, I wouldn't even say Jalen Waddle because, Jalen Waddle is not in the tier of a Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, or even the George Pickens of this year. But it's just like Sean it's just at this point where the Broncos, or maybe even Sean, has got to put away his arrogant side about that and be like, you know what? I need this wide receiver. You can dabble in the Cooper Kupps of the world, the Stephon Diggs of the world, and whatever, and be attached.
Gets out of prison.
But I meant like, and be attached to some of these players, or have Deebo Samuel actually come out and say, I want to play for the Denver Broncos, but in turn gets traded to the Washington Commanders. So the Broncos themselves can be interested in him, but if it's not reciprocated to where a deal comes through, that's where we're standing, where it's at the point where the Broncos just simply need to prove
what?
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Thomas?
Emmanuel Sanders?
And
what are you talking
Thomas.
about?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess they didn't. They had receivers that could catch the ball. Sorry.
Dude. I love Cortland Sutton, but DT and Emmanuel Sanders are in a completely different league.
Damaris is the second best wide receiver in Broncos history. My number one.
I do want to bring this up because I'm not sitting here advocating for the Broncos to go get Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. It's not going to happen.
Or even George Pickens.
But I think when you look at the Broncos roster the way it is now, with as much hype as we were giving our draft picks this year, especially Pat Bryant, like, oh, he's going to come in, he's going to be the number one guy, he's going to be the alpha dog. I don't think that's the kind of receiver he's going to be. I think that when you look at the Broncos wide receiver room and what we've done in the draft the last couple of years, this is a draft where you take a wide receiver in the first round. The guy. That is going to be the guy that you want as your dog on the team.
Yeah, but we said that this year. Like we said that even this year.
Right, but first round it wasn't wide receiver.
No, but I think that when you look at it though, it probably should have been this year, right? Like it should have been the Emeka Egbuka year, but it wasn't. And and they ended up getting Pat Bryant, right? But if there's one thing we know about Sean is that he is so stubborn. And if you really, to Sean's credit on this, by the way, to Sean's credit, he has proven to be right this year. I just want to throw that out there. He has proven to be right. One, he has come out on numerous occasions about how much he loves this wide receiver room. And he also came out and said that the Broncos are Super Bowl contenders. Mm-hmm. Where are we right now? So I will at least take Sean. I will at least take Sean Payton's word for this when it comes to this, but I will still have my opinion of the fact that we do need a dog, or recognize the fact that Sutton needs to play a little bit better these last handful of weeks. So,
yeah, I think that's the part that gets me a little bit, right? Like Marvin Mims seems like they stopped using him as much on offense.
Or it is what it is.
Yeah, Troy Franklin, you think is going to be that guy, but then there's games where you're like, dude, what are you doing? It just, soon as Jamar Chase hit the field, soon as Justin Jefferson hit the field, anytime Mike Evans is on the field, you're like, that's the guy. And Denver doesn't have that yet. And I'm not saying he's not on the roster, but not yet.
I will say, though, I think it's a little bit more around him. But when we do throw Jamar Chase, and I mean it's relative, Jamar Chase around, if he really was that dog, the Bengals would necessarily be a little bit more into playoff contention than they are right now. If he really is that.
I don't know.
I disagree with that one.
No, that's a stretch.
I think that is, but I'm just saying, there's probably people out there that think that, because I think it's a little bit more about what's been around the Cincinnati Bengals due to that. But I just think that there's probably an argument to be made about that. Do I agree? No, I don't agree. But I just think that when you look at it, just as far as everything for the wide receiver room, there's probably something that needs to be done. I will say this too, to another degree, and this is to Cortland Sutton's credit. I think we are seeing his game evolve the last couple of years to where, and it pains me to make this comparison to a degree, but because he's a wide receiver, but we're seeing a little bit more in the way he's playing. These last couple years, we are seeing him be a third down magnet, like almost a big slot receiver that we've been wanting to see with Tim Patrick when he was healthy, right? We're seeing Courtland Sutton be this savvy, knowing where his spot is on the field, and he's been a third down magnet for Bo. We already know he's Bo Nix's favorite target, but we're starting to see him be savvy enough, like Travis Kelce, where he's enough to evade a player and get the first down marker at a very regular pace, right? And so I think that for Sutton's credit, his game is evolving, right? Like his game is evolving a little bit more as these last couple of years are, evolving. So if they do get this outside wide receiver or this player like a Justin Jefferson that you can use, frankly, at any point with motion or anything like this, and just have him be just your number one option on any given time, then you have your third down magician of a player, when it comes to Courtland Sutton. So I think that at least the last couple of years, you're seeing a lot of growth with him, where that's a very elite niche these last couple of years for Court.
Yeah. Now I have to throw this out there, and it's not that I'm wanting him on the team, but he was just waived by the Cowboys, and he does turnovers, and timing is immaculate. Trayvon Diggs, just waived from the Cowboys. He is an interception magnet. Is that somebody we want to bring in?
I'm going to reserve my opinions on this just because I want to make a syndicate video.
I thought you might.
I think you can kind of tell by my facial expressions what my opinion is.
That's all we need to know.
Well, but I'm not for it. Sorry. I don't want him.
I don't either.
No, but also the timing. I will say this. The timing could not be more impeccable. Given the Stephon Diggs news, and then Trayvon Diggs gets released. They're brothers, by the way. To the people in the chat, if they don't know, they're brothers. Yeah. So the timing could not be even more impeccable with the fact that his release, then the Diggs news comes out. I don't want him. I think
Rich says maybe.
I don't want him. I really don't want him.
Maybe. Pick up Diggs for insurance. Hope he never sees the field. Well, you'd have to pay him enough to have him that you'd want him on the field. Little Jordan Humphrey. This guy, I am like everybody wanted him off the team last year.
I know.
Dude,
we realize how bad the offense was without him.
Bro, he is everywhere, and it is awesome.
Yeah, it's great, and that's the kudos to little Jordan Humphrey, man. Because I mean, yeah, he definitely deserves some criticism, and there was some fair criticism for him. But if there's one thing, and this is also the Bo's credit, he's seeing the field. Like Bo is seeing the field at such an alarming rate, to where when little Jordan Hunt is open, like he is right near the first down marker, and he's getting yards after the catch, right? So yeah, it is one where you got to give credit where credit is due, and he is playing some real ball, and he's also not fumbling the ball literally after the catch. So yeah,
just the blocking in the screen game, man, it has made a massive difference. Early in the season, those plays were only going for a couple of yards. Now they're going for the 4, 5, 6 yards per clip that they should, and that's a big testament to how much the blocking's improved with both Humphrey and Bryant. So that's something I've been really impressed with.
Well, I know that people were talking a little bit earlier in the chat. I think it was Rich about Bo Nix and how he thinks he's taking a little bit of a step back. And I don't think so. I think Bo Nix is playing great. I think that the receivers are letting him down. We just got done talking about drops. You take those 4 drops that Courtland Sutton had against the Chiefs, then look at Bo Nix's stats. Look at the touchdown drives we've got going on. I think that Bo Nix is playing well. I think that he's getting let down by the people that are around him.
And there is an argument to that. Don't get me wrong. The drops are a problem. However, I see where Rich is coming from on tape. you are seeing sometimes where his feet are still not getting tied to the timing of the route concepts. And that's an issue because he is missing open guys when he should be hitting them, as in just the timing of when he should be seeing them. So that's something that I feel like needs to get better. And it's something that we've seen since the second half of the Jaguars game. Like, look at the Packers game. Look at the first half of that Jaguars game. I mean, Bo was ripping it on time, in rhythm, in structure. His feet were set on almost every single play. And I'd say in the second half of the Jaguars game and in probably the first, quarter and a half to 2 quarters of the Chiefs game, we saw those problems. They did get better over the course of that Chiefs game, and I'm not concerned about it long term, but I do think that just the timing of these plays has been a little wonky for these past couple of games.
But
Cam, I'm guessing you're going to go into that.
Well, but I would just say that, like, when you look at, relatively speaking, I think it also fits into what his game is right now, where you look specifically to that Packers game and even times in those fourth quarter comebacks where you see how good of a quarterback he is outside of the pocket and how mobile he is and how athletic he is. You're going to have some moments where the footwork isn't necessarily the best, but we've also seen where even when the footwork isn't necessarily the best, he can throw it with the best of them, right? Like, he can throw with the best of them. So you win some, you lose some, but I think it also shows you how high of a ceiling that Mr. Mac Jones, everybody was comparing him to, actually has a very high ceiling when it comes to a quarterback, when it comes to Bo Nix. So I really do think that that what you're seeing is, Bo has just this ability where I think his footwork does need to be better at times. But I think that the one thing I will say is that he has very clearly shown in these first 2 seasons, he can win any game. He can win any game that you want. And specific to that Chiefs game or specific to the Jets game or wherever, when it was that they did play down to their competition and the other teams played up to his competition, he will manage the game at a very, very elite level. And when the defensive coordinators, who are very elite, are trying to throw the kitchen sink at him, he will make them pay because of the game plan that they're throwing at him.
Yeah, and I think we have to clarify this whole thing. Like, yes, Bo Nix is in his sophomore year. Yes, there's going to be some hiccups. Yes, there's going to be some things that we don't like. However, man, I had a point, now I don't know where I was going with it.
Old age does that to you,
It just left.
And I'm the guy
I'm almost 40. Oh, now I got it. Bo Nix is not the reason why we're losing games.
Nope.
For
Like,
sure.
The game we lost against the Jags, he might not have been great in the second half, and there was a stupid interception in both of those games, right? You can't be like, oh, well, that was a bad throw, bad decision, shouldn't have happened. But Bo Nix is not the reason we're losing a game.
Nope.
That's on the defense. That's on a drop. That's on a fumble. That's, there's so many other things that are happening as to why we would lose a game, and Bo Nix isn't one of them.
Yeah, and there was some unnecessary criticism for his interception that he threw in that Chiefs game. And that had more to do with the Chiefs. That had more to do with the Chiefs player that was actually guarding the play. Now, granted, there was probably a play that he could have had back on the throw before that, which was Marvin Mims.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I will say about Bo that I think you're starting to see a little bit better of when it comes to Bo is on those hole shots. Now, he missed him a little bit on the on that throw, but I think it probably has to do with maybe that Houston game, and it kind of changed his thought process when it comes to, okay, I really need to zip this ball. Was when there was a hole shot on that in that Houston game, he had a little bit of some air on that ball, and because of that, and granted, I would say it's a little bit more to the play of the Houston defender, but he had a little bit of some air on that ball to where the defender was able to come in and get the ball. Now, on some of these hole shots, you're seeing Bo throw with authority.
Yes.
And that is something that you never really saw from him, at least in the midway point to the early part of the season. And so now you're kind of seeing him being methodical with how he is in throwing the ball. So I really think that you are starting to see, just even in his second year, the growth of him really as a quarterback. And if there's anything I will say, though, in just confirming with what we see down the line, we didn't know what his ceiling was necessarily last year, but there are so many games this year that you can pinpoint and say, we have a ceiling, and it's a very, very high ceiling for what this quarterback can be.
Now, I kind of want to bring this one up. Bo can't win any game. I think you mean Geno can't win any game. Obviously, you didn't see the first part of the show where we talked about how the offense has been carrying the Broncos over these last 4 or 5 games because the defense has been trashy. So, no, Bo can definitely win some games.
Let's see. Games Bo Nix has won this year. Giants game. Let's see. He played well in the Chiefs game, Packers game.
Whole NFC East.
Yes, pretty much whole NFC East.
I definitely think that the defense has been the Broncos' strength, but again, over these last 4 or 5 games, it's been the offense that has been winning the games, not the defense. Now, when you go to West Philly Black here saying the Broncos barely beat the Jets, yeah, but we did. We also beat the Eagles, so I'm just going to throw that out there. Win is a win is a win is a win. I don't care how it gets done. A win is a win.
Yep.
Their luck will run out in the playoffs. Well, not in the first round because we won't be playing.
Well, and by the way, I was going to say to that point. By the way, that doesn't quantify the Broncos actually getting past the first round if they get this first seed. Doesn't actually quantify as a first round exit. By the way, it does not because
they didn't have a game in the first round.
They didn't have a game in the first round. So.
Yep. I mean, listen, man, this offense is really starting to click. Are there areas where they need to get better? Yeah. Are there areas where they need to improve? Hell yes. But this offense is starting to show that they can definitely become the reason why we win football games. And you need to play complementary football in the playoffs. There is really one way to win in the playoffs, and that's running the football, being able to be efficient in the passing game, be smothering on defense. That is how you go all the way. And Denver's showing signs that they can do all of them. The question is, can they do all of them in the same game? That is where we need to be going next.
Yeah. And, there's at least a couple things that we can go back on to a game like that, like the Dallas game. Dallas hung 24 points on you, but that really was like one of the games we can go back to where everything was clicking defensively, and specific to the offense. But I think also to the offensive point and the merging with how high of a ceiling we're seeing with Bo. The one thing I will say is that also probably is something where we should give Sean Payton a whole lot of praise here for how he's changed a little bit when it comes to how he's organizing the plays and doing it for Bo. I think everybody, and even Sean probably even admitted about how Bo is like a Drew Brees Jr. I'm sorry, but we even kind of said it even last year, but the way he's playing is not a Drew Brees type. And I think that Sean is finally realized that at the point of like the last 3 weeks or like right at that bye week was when you started to kind of maybe see Sean realize that, you know what, his best attribute, like his best elite attribute is running out of the pocket and being on the run and throwing on the run, really kind of shades of Jake Plummer or Jay Cutler or any of the elite quarterbacks that really have come through here that have been on the run, right? And so I think that Sean is really starting to realize that, the best way to probably utilize him is to utilize him the way that I wanted Patrick Mahomes as a, quarterback in the New Orleans Saints. And now you're starting to kind of see things unfold with out of pocket and in structure and manufacturing both of that in one offense. And the fact that we're starting to see shades of this now should make Bronco fans just happy as can be.
This argument doesn't even make any sense. Buffalo Bills blew you out last year in the first round. Yeah. And the Jags and the Patriots won 4 games apiece last year. Who cares?
This isn't the same Broncos team, nor is this the same Bills team. And did you bring up Richie's comment about the defense, the Bills defense? This happens every single year, man. The Bills defense completely craps the bed. I will say Josh Allen didn't really have the best game against Philadelphia, but the defense has been the common recurring issue every year in Buffalo, yet Sean McDermott still has a job. Broncos fans have seen this before with John Fox. The moment that they ripped off the Band-Aid, they went all the way and won the Super Bowl, ironically enough, on the back of their defense. But they were able to get that job done by finally ripping the Band-Aid off of a head coach that changed the culture, brought a lot of positive stuff to the table. We had some damn good years with John Fox, just like the Bills have had some damn good years with Sean McDermott, but you're going to hit a ceiling, it feels like, with these defensive-minded head coaches, and you're not going to be able to maximize your franchise quarterback. And that's been the downfall every year for the Bills.
Well, and I will say this. Where you're starting to see the ceiling of some of these defenses is a young-minded, defensive coordinator who really knows exactly what he's doing. So I'm not trying to say that, like, you know, would I love to see Vance Joseph leave? Not necessarily just because of how well he's really recouped and revitalized his own career, of coming back to Denver and just a great story that would be. But the ceiling for where this defense can go and for what they can accomplish with the players that they have is so much higher with Jim Leonhard. So, and again, I love what Vance has been able to do. It's just the late season stuff and everything. I think it would just be one where I think you'll see a little bit more higher ceiling when it comes to that, much like you saw with Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter and, and stuff like that. So, but like, I don't know. I really do think that when you have that conversation, Gage, a lot of that is due to a lot of those young-minded, like, defensive gurus.
Mm-hmm, yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's move on to the Chargers game. Obviously, we have one more game in the regular season. It's against the Chargers. If we win, we lock in the first seed. We get a first-round bye in the playoffs. So, no, we're not going to lose in the first round of the playoffs because we'll be sitting on our couches watching because we won't be playing. Like,
hopefully.
But we did get word that Justin Herbert is not starting. Are they sitting all their starters or just Herbert?
That hasn't been confirmed, but I imagine they're sitting their starters. This team has had injuries all season long. If they get another starter injured in this game, which can only really advance their seeding to the 6th seed from the 7th seed, it's not worth it. So I cannot imagine they're playing starters for more than maybe a drive in this game.
And I was going to say, this is probably one of the very few times you'll ever hear me compliment the Chargers organization. But kudos to the Chargers for actually doing a smart move here. But resting their starters, because and if there is one game and it backfired on them badly, and it was the Brandon Staley year and it backfired. They came to Denver against Russell Wilson and the Chargers in a game that they should have set Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Derwin James, and others. And what happens? They incur 2 or 3 massive injuries in that game. So I guarantee you that had been a conversation piece. For that.
Rich says, Cam, which year Staley crapped the bed every year?
But so the fact that Jim Harbaugh smartly approached this, and it really doesn't affect the seedings too much. I mean, yeah, they'll get like the 5th seed possibly, or 6th seed or 7th seed or whatever. This is really about Justin Herbert's health. and he has taken an absolute beating. And when you look solely at the schedule, Houston and then Denver in back-to-back weeks is a death sentence for Justin Herbert. And so, I think overall this was the best thing for him. I do expect some other starters to sit. I don't know about Ladd McConkey, but I got to at least imagine Keenan Allen might be one, given his age and everything, that he'll probably sit. The one I'm watching, and this is a big one, they just activated him off of injured reserve the last couple weeks, but it was injured reserve. I think the Chargers would be best served to also sit Omarion Hampton as well.
For sure.
Quentin Johnston too.
I think they probably will. Like I said earlier, they might play him for a drive or two just to get their feet wet in the game. Maybe if somebody has like an incentive bonus they need to hit, they'll let them hit that incentive bonus and then they'll get them out of the game.
Herbert's taking a beating, but he has a smoking girlfriend he goes home to.
I mean, life is good for Justin Herbert, man. He cannot complain.
Haley Steinfeld, woo!
Yeah,
smoking too.
Well, and I was going to say, and for the Chargers, they're living good anyway because they're in a rent-a stadium. Because
true.
That's true. So are they going to sit offensive linemen then, since that's been their biggest issue?
I mean, they're already playing like their 4th and 5th string.
I know, so you can't lose one, so you want to sit them, right?
I don't know.
Do they even have any left?
If there is one person that they probably could sit, if there is one person they probably could sit at with that offense line, it might be Mekhi Becton. But I probably should say this though. Like, has he been injured this year? No. But I would say that the other one I would obviously watch from the defensive side of the ball is Derwin James. That would be another one too. Is do they sit Derwin James?
Khalil Mack as well, I would say.
Yeah. Do you know if
and Tuli Tuipolo too.
Do you know if the Broncos are sitting starters or no? I'm assuming
no. We have to play starters.
They won't, but if it gets to be a irresponsible
30-0, take them out.
They will take players out.
Right. I just didn't know if because like the farthest we can fall is
3,
2, right? 3. Okay, so yeah, we got player starters.
You do not want to play on wild card weekend, man. You want that first round bye.
And this is what the current playoff picture looks like. I don't think it's going to change much. The only thing that could change is the Steelers and the Ravens. And I think that's it, right? Everything else is pretty much locked in place.
Yes and no. I mean, like, what's crazy about this is technically speaking, it's not happening. But technically speaking, the Houston Texans have a path to every single seed in the AFC. That's how crazy that is. It's like Houston has a path to literally every single seed.
Well, not one.
No, they do.
They've got a path. They just need a lot of shit to happen.
No, because they're 2 games back.
But they're
they're 2 games back. So it can't happen.
I saw but to Gage's point, there's just a lot that needs to happen for
they can get 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. No, they can't even get 7. Well,
I think 1 and 2 is New England, Jacksonville, and Denver, right?
Well, yeah, 1 and 2 is us and the Patriots. The Jags are a game ahead, so technically the Texans could, but
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it all technically. Obviously, will they? No, because the Broncos and New England are probably your more than likely your 1 and 2 seed, respectfully. But I think I will say this though: if I'm New England, I hate this. I actually hate this. Like, I am genuinely pissed off.
Right?
The Chargers are resting their players
because they're playing the Jets. Like, it's not like they're in danger.
Well, but it's that, and also too, their draw is just absolute hell. Doesn't matter their opponent. Their draw is hell.
Is it the Jets? No, who are they playing? Not the Jets.
They can either play
Miami.
Miami, there we go. They played the Jets this last week.
You could, well, because like that's the thing is like if whoever's going to be whoever the Patriots are going to be facing in that first round, if they get that second seed, that draw is going to be terrible because it's going to be probably the Texans, if maybe, or even the Chargers, right? Maybe even Buffalo again, which, oh, by the way, you'll be playing them 3 times. Good luck playing the Buffalo Bills 3 times. So if the Buffalo Bills don't win that matchup, they desperately need to fire Sean McDermott after that game. But like, if I'm New England, your draw is so bad. It doesn't matter whether it's Houston, the Chargers, or possibly even the Bills. That is going to be such a rough place for New England.
I believe that's Brandon Jones, and I don't think we can get him back until the AFC Championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because he's on game number 2 that he's missed now, right? Or number 3.
Well, it depends because there's that. If we do get the bye week,
bye week doesn't count towards IR. The bye week, you have to miss 4 games. Like you have to miss 4 games, not 4 weeks.
Okay.
So this would be week 3.
Yeah, this upcoming one would be.
We could have him back for the AFC Championship.
We didn't have him for the Jags game though, right?
No, we didn't. So he missed Jags. He missed Chiefs. He's going to miss this one against the Chargers, and then he's going to miss our first playoff game.
So that'd be 4.
That's 4.
So they can come back. So here's how the playoffs break down right now. Broncos get the bye as the number 1 seed. Patriots play the Chargers in the first round. We went Patriots, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm going Patriots.
I'm going Patriots, but I still, if I'm a Patriots fan, I hate any draw I'm getting.
Fair, but you can't trust the Chargers in the playoffs, man. They're going to Charger. They always do.
The 3 seed is the Jags against the 6 seed Bills.
That's a fun game.
That's a fun one, man. In Jacksonville.
Yeah. And then it would be the Steelers as the 4 seed against the Texans at the 5 seed.
And the Steelers, man, they might fumble the bag on this one. If Baltimore beats them, then Baltimore gets in.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the Ravens essentially rested, in air quotes, rested Lamar, so that you basically have a Baltimore game against the Texans with Lamar, and that's going to be a super fun matchup. Derrick Henry, Lamar against that Texans defense, that's going to be fun.
Well, yeah. And like it's interesting because like you can see the opponents that Denver has next year, right? We don't know when, but we know what their home and their away games are going to be. Mm-hmm. Whoever wins the North, whether it's the Steelers or the Ravens, that's who we would play next year as the winner of that division. Same thing with the NFC South, whether it's the Bucks or the Panthers. Whoever wins that division is who we would play next year. So just something to look forward to for next year.
Yeah. Which means we're going to be playing either the Panthers or the Buccaneers. That's who we'll end up playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. So there was this interesting tweet that I saw that was about the playoffs that I thought was interesting. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. It's from Sam Block. I have no idea who that is. I don't really care. He said, the Rams are ice cold. The Bills are inconsistent. The 49ers are banged up. The Eagles win ugly. You don't trust the Seahawks. You don't trust the Broncos. You don't trust the Bears. You don't trust the Pats. You don't trust the Jags. And you don't trust the Texans. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I mean, I do trust the Broncos because they've won 13 fucking games this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I said it on...
That's why I said it was stupid, but...
I said it on the Altitude Adjustment show with Mario when Glenn was on, and I think I've said it on here numerous times. If there is one thing you can say about this Denver Broncos team very confidently, they are battle tested. And you really couldn't say that for a team last year that people say that, oh, the Bills blew out the Broncos. Remember that first half, by the way? Remember that first half? We probably could have been tied against the Buffalo Bills. And then obviously the Bills blew us out in that second half. But it was close. It was close in that first half. But like they are battle tested this year, right? They are battle. You do not win one-score games, the amount of one-score games by accident. And I would just say that simply because of the fact that the Broncos have had these games in such a early part of their career and development, that'll do far more positive for this organization and for this team and for this staff moving forward than hurt them. Win or lose Super Bowl, they get a number 1 seed the year after, when all we've been claiming for is a possible home playoff berth, and we get the number 1 seed. Yeah, we have massively surpassed expectations to where that 13-4 record, 14-3 record that we could possibly be getting is going to be a number 1 seed in the playoffs. Yeah, already a successful season for the Denver Broncos, and it ain't done yet, and it ain't done. And so I think that absolutely the Broncos are, maybe I'm a little bit biased here, but there is no team in the NFL that is more battle-tested than the Denver Broncos.
I have to agree with you. Sure, the Bills have playoff experience, but we know what they're going to do. Their defense is going to completely shit the bed, and they're going to require Josh Allen to be Superman. Now, sure, Josh Allen could definitely come into Denver, be Superman, have that chip on his shoulder against a team that should have drafted him. Absolutely. I'm scared of that. But, you've got Houston. Their offense is extremely inconsistent. They've got a championship-level defense. I don't trust Baltimore whatsoever right now. Lamar isn't healthy. They've got their own defensive issues. I don't know if there is really a team in the NFL. I was thinking, okay, maybe if we get to the Super Bowl, it's going to be tough against, the Rams. They've got flaws. I still don't trust Sam Darnold, so that's giving me reservations with the Seahawks. I really don't know if there's a better team out there than the
Eagles
Denver
are
Broncos.
up and down this year.
Yeah. It's just, is there really a team in the NFL that's been more consistent than Denver? Denver has won football games. Denver's got playoff experience from last year. Why can't they do this? All they have to do is win 2 games in a row at home, assuming they get that number 1 seed.
I think the only team that could even come remotely close, and that's because they have almost as many one-score.
Chicago.
It would be Chicago. I think that'd be the only one that's close.
And I still don't trust Chicago because I don't trust the quarterback.
Yeah. Any word on Dobbins returning? I believe we can get him back for playoffs, right?
We can.
Especially if we get that first-round bye.
But I was going to say it's also predicated upon, because, they put it on, well, it's also predicated upon, when he can be practicing off to the side. So if you see, if you start to hear some news about J.K. Dobbins playing on the side field on, week 18, or maybe even the beginning point is, I think you'll start to hear some decent stuff. And I wouldn't be shocked even if it's a little bit before, it's a little bit before the championship game too. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's the divisional game. But man, I gotta say though, I just think that, for where this Bronco team is, who knows? This Bronco team the defense specifically can flip a switch, come playoff time, because that is exactly what happened. As great as that 2015 defense was, they even flipped a bigger switch when it came to the playoffs, right? Because we saw that year of DeMarcus Ware in the playoffs, who doesn't get maybe as much credit as he, should, because it was all necessarily Von Miller, but who knows? We might actually see Jonathan Cooper flip that switch, Nick Bonito flip that switch, Talanoa Hufanga flip that switch even more for how aggressive he plays. So he'll be in the playoffs for the first time. So, as a member of the Denver Broncos coming from that. So here's the part 2 where I think is going to be invaluable. And that is, they had their first round exit against the Buffalo Bills. And I do still believe that they're a battle tested team. Yes. To Jack that's in the chat, but the whole point of when Sean Payton came in here in his first season was bringing players in of playoff experience. And that is going to end up mattering a whole heck of a lot. Ben Powers has playoff experience. Mike McGlinchey has playoff experience. Talanoa Hufanga has playoff experience. Super Bowl experience. Greenlaw, when we do get him back, has Super Bowl experience. Whether he's on the field, off the field, he has Super Bowl experience. That is invaluable. And then you have some of these other offensive linemen, right? But like, it's just like, so there are players on this team that are Super Bowl or playoff, representation, and that is going to be very valuable for this team long term.
Yeah. So last week, 2 weeks ago, we took a look and broke down the AFC playoff picture and who we thought would go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. I'm assuming we're all sticking with the Broncos going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Or are we changing it up?
I'm saying Broncos.
I mean, nothing would surprise me anyway with the AFC, but one of the if there is one thing I will say as well is that if there is a year for any team specific to the AFC and how wide open it is that number one seed, I think, is so invaluable in a year like that.
Yeah, because all these matchups are like big team versus big team, so somebody's getting knocked out, which is great.
And before, or what is it, around the midway point, there were probably some people in New England that were saying, if there is one team we do not want to go visit to, it is Mile High. We do not want that to happen, because imagine necessarily the emotions of that game. Bo Nix against Drake May. Josh McDaniels coming back to Denver. All the storylines of everything of that Patriots game. The Patriots going back into Denver is already a massive storyline, and they don't want to go back there. Goes to show you how much Denver owns them the last handful of years.
If Josh McDaniels ever gets another nod for a head coach, I swear to God, I'm done with football.
He's like Chip Kelly. He's like the Chip Kelly of the NFL. Right. Like in a sense of like, because Chip Kelly, by the way, didn't take him long to find work. He ends up being the offensive coordinator for Northwestern. But if there's one thing we know about Chip Kelly, he is a brilliant offensive coordinator mind in college. If there is one thing we know about Josh McDaniels in the NFL, he is a brilliant offensive coordinator mind only in the NFL. That's it.
Hey, whoever had that playoff bracket thing last time we did this, you want to pull it up again? We can do the NFC.
Oh, the ESPN playoff simulator?
Yeah. Is that what that was?
Yeah, we can pull that up.
Right now we got Seahawks 1, Bears 2, Eagles 3. Right now you have the Panthers at 4, but it could be the Bucks. And then you've got the Niners at 5, Rams at 6, and Packers at 7. So the only one that's not locked in is the Panthers. So it could either be the Panthers or the Bucks. And if the Bucks win and they win the NFC South, you've got an 8-9 team in the playoffs, which is ridiculous.
All right, I just shared my screen, Mike.
Boom.
Okay, so do we want to go through like the last of these NFC games here for Week 18?
We're just gonna go with the way it's set up right now.
Yeah,
because I'm assuming the Panthers are gonna win.
Okay, hold on. Are we going? We're picking the playoffs as they are right now.
Yeah, we're gonna do the NFC.
Let me get a different simulator up.
I'm
sorry, I didn't realize we were doing this. I gotta get up this simulator.
Drake May will be MVP because he is the best quarterback in the league
this year. Stafford kind of opened that discussion up.
All right, so let's go ahead and go to next week.
Those are very loud swallows.
I'll do it again if you need to.
Am I back?
I don't know. Were you gone?
I was gone for a second. Okay, now I have the screen I need up. Well, apparently now it wants to make sure I'm a human being.
There we go. You always got to check, verifying your hey.
Boom shakalaka. Okay. So we've got NFC, 49ers, and Panthers.
I'm going 49ers. Their defense is awful, but their offense can hang with anybody.
Yeah, you have to go 49ers here. I mean, Panthers are inexperienced. 49ers have playoff experience. We'll go back to – sorry.
I was going to say that's one Super Bowl from a Broncos perspective. That would be so fun. Is Broncos against the 49ers for a Super Bowl. Yeah, if that's the draw, you 100% have to pick the 49ers. Frankly, I would say the Panthers. Obviously, I know Bryce Young has been there for a little bit longer than Bo, but I would say the Panthers at this point with Dave Canales are probably at that point where the Broncos were last year, where they're just soaking up the playoff experience. They're just there to just kind of enjoy the ride. Obviously, it would be nice to win, but yeah, I don't know how anyone would want to pick the Panthers in this. It's got to be 49ers the entire way.
Yep. So going to AFC here, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Houston Texans. Who are we going with?
We went Texans.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I would go Houston, but I will say I think the Pittsburgh Steelers make it a game just because of Tomlin's coaching experience and how valuable it is.
Sure. And honestly, this could very easily be the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm still leaning towards Houston, but Baltimore would obviously be a much tougher matchup there for the Texans.
See, I don't think so. I think the Steelers are better than the Ravens.
Well,
we'll find out last week of the season.
Yeah. All right. So then we've got back to NFC here, the Rams at the Eagles.
This is the game. If there's anything, I would say maybe it was the game of the entire weekend. I would say
Eagles.
I probably would go Eagles here too.
Like the Rams just seem like they fell off a cliff over these last couple weeks.
I would probably go Eagles here too, just because if there's a team I probably trust a little bit more in playoff time at this point in their respective careers, I would probably say the Eagles. Because the thing that's scary about the Eagles, and I will say this, much like, say, even Baltimore, right? Like Baltimore, even Buffalo, because they have Josh Allen and because they have these elite quarterbacks already, they can flip a switch like that. And the Eagles are such a good structured team that if they flip a switch like that, they could ride that entire way to the Super Bowl. Because we said that like last year with the Eagles is that there was no team that I would have wanted to face if I was any team, and that would have been the Eagles because of how well and good that defense is and organized with Barkley and Hurts and how dominant that running game is with Hurts and how he can beat you through the air with his arm. If in doubt, it's consistent enough. They're a tough team, man. So like if it really hits at such a right time, it can ride them the entire way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. I'd lean towards the Rams here just because I think we've seen both of these teams have inconsistencies, and the Eagles might be a little bit more concerning, and they've been more consistently inconsistent, if that makes any sense. But
it does. I think it's Jalen Hurts, right? Like Jalen Hurts is the reason why they're being inconsistent.
And the offensive line too, I would say.
Yeah. There's been a ton of injuries on that offensive line. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm like not, because we talked about it, I'm not like saying that the Eagles have a lot of, or don't have warts, because they have a ton of warts. Oh, yeah. They've been obviously they'll probably make the playoffs, right? But they are a super disappointment, if you will, this year. But like I said, if they hit it just right, if they hit lightning in a bottle, that can easily ride them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think the Eagles have gotten more consistent. They're not turning the ball over as much, and I think Jalen Phillips, that linebacker they added to the defense, really kind of balanced them out a little bit.
Yep. No, I agree. I'm only trying to rush through this because we're approaching an hour and a half.
Oh, I know. We picked Jags on the AFC side, right?
Yes, I'm fully Jags.
And then we picked Patriots too last week.
Cam, were you going Jags and over Chargers?
Well, I was going to go Jags over Chargers, but I was just going to say, just as a quick note, this is the reason why the Chargers are resting their players.
Yes,
it's not going to matter.
No,
it's not going to get easier for them either.
It's not going to be any easier, but they do not want to play Jacksonville. They do not want to play Jacksonville. Jacksonville waxed them the last time that they were playing. Also, I have an upset.
Bills over Patriots.
I have Bills over Patriots.
We had the Patriots in the AFC Championship. Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually with you there, man.
Okay. No, I'm good. I'm fine.
I actually think the Bills are going to win a playoff game. They go into Foxborough and get it done. So then we go to
there's even a debate on this one.
This one's interesting. I don't trust either of these teams.
Didn't the Bears already beat them twice?
No, it was split.
It's split?
Yeah, because they lost at Lambeau. The Bears did. Caleb Williams threw a pick on 4th and 1.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
still going Bears.
I have to go Packers, honestly.
I probably will go Packers on it too, but like the thing is like, I guess like that'd be a game we're asking me in a couple weeks, because if there is a game where the Packers have, where truly the Broncos broke a team and the heart and soul of a team, it was that Packers game. As awesome a game as that was, they lost Micah Parsons. They lost Christian Watson, like Parsons specifically, because Watson came back. And obviously Jordan Love has been really inconsistent since that Bronco game. I mean, so I don't know.
Sorry. Right. Can you see my screen still?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Jags, Texans.
Oh, God, that's a tough one.
Man, I'm going to go Texans.
I am too, for one reason. They've got more playoff experience than Jacksonville. That's literally the only reason. I don't want to pick that one.
I think Trevor Lawrence gets hurt in the first round.
Houston's also, I will just say it, Houston's in a bit of the same situation we are when it comes to J.K. Dobbins with Tank Dell.
Mm-hmm.
So that is worth monitoring here. So if at this point they get Tank Dell, little bit of a more tougher matchup, if you will, with that Texans and Jaguars game, I will probably lean to the Texans on this one. Just because I probably trust that Texans defense just a tad bit more, even though Jags are turning the ball over at such an alarming rate.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Obviously, we're picking Broncos over Bills.
I mean, listen, man, I think this is one matchup that nobody wants to see if you're a Broncos fan, because, of course, Josh Allen can always kill you. But I said it earlier, man, this Bills team has a lot of warts, and they're asking Josh Allen to cover up almost all of them. He can, but is it a guarantee that he comes into Mile High and does that? No. So I have to go with the team that's just played more consistent football. And the team that's found a way to win the most games, then that's the Denver Broncos, especially at home.
And the Bills are good. The Bills are good in the fourth quarter, but they're not as good as the Broncos in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Well, but also, and I will say this, it just feels fitting. Given what happened last year, it just seems fitting that the first playoff game that the Broncos have is against the Buffalo Bills in their own building. So it just, I don't know. I think it ends up being the Broncos. And I will say it, that if the Broncos will always achieve the number one seed, there is no tougher place to play, or it's one of the most tougher places to play in the entire NFL or even sports, because of the fact that what is one thing that Sean Payton discovered? Up-tempo in Denver. It's like running a fast break offense for the NBA when you're at Mile High. You run up-tempo here in Denver, good luck. We're going to run you out of the building.
Well, now you got Niners and Eagles.
Man, that's another tough one.
I'm going Niners.
I am too. I think they're more consistent, especially when they're at full strength. But, man, that's another one I don't really want to pick.
I probably will go Niners here. And if you're the Eagles, I would just say probably this is a little bit of an unfavorable draw.
Mm-hmm.
But also, as we said, the Eagles could just curb stomp anybody if they're red hot. So,
like, it's very possible Philly just goes on this big run, man. They can easily do that. It's the Jacksonville Eagles there.
Well, here's the question too. Like on some of these games, and who do you trust more as a coach right now? A coach. Like, who's a coach you trust more right now in a game like that between the Niners and the Eagles? Who's the coach you trust more?
Shanahan. Easy.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. And then
Seahawks,
Packers.
We're all in agreement here. Seattle, Packers going in there. They don't stand much of a chance.
Ooh.
Darnold, though. Remember that.
Yeah,
I know, but trust
but
me,
that's-
I've got
that's
the Darnold
Seahawks.
game happening next week.
And that Seahawks defense is, man, it's good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Jordan Love, he's up, he's down. This Packers defense is bad, so I expect Darnold to do well there.
You know what? I'm gonna do this for the vibes. We should have an ending of the Broncos against Seattle for in the Super Bowl.
It's actually where I'm going. That's actually where I was going. Broncos and Seahawks.
So, Mike, who did you pick here?
Where?
On Niners and I'm sorry, on Seahawks.
Packers,
and
Seahawks.
Seahawks.
I have Broncos Seahawks in the Super Bowl.
Okay, so I think both Cam and all right. I was going to actually go with the Niners here. I was thinking this was going to be the Darnold game, but it's looking like you guys. Oh, wait, I screwed that up.
No, that was right.
Oh no, that was right.
That was right. See, my whole thing is right. Like you have the Niners offense that can hang with any other offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But the Niners defense is they can't stop anybody.
True.
And the Seahawks defense is really, really good. So I think that there's more likely a chance that the Seahawks defense gets a stop on the Niners offense than the Niners defense gets on the Seahawks offense.
I think it's the other way around. Let me tell you
and
why.
I think it'll be a shootout, but I think the Seahawks pull it out.
I think it's the other way around because Darnold played in San Francisco for a year.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows Darnold's weaknesses, it's Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh, everybody there in San Francisco. If they know how to make Sam Darnold see ghosts, then they're going to take Seattle down.
Yeah.
I just man, like
there's both sides to it.
Right. Like I just don't trust that Niners defense. Okay, listen.
Sure.
Flame Warrior Golden. You're talking to the wrong people, man.
I love Jesus.
Church volunteer. You're talking to the wrong people.
Yeah.
I mean, you can preach to me because I'm an atheist, but I'm not going to listen.
Yeah, he doesn't care. I work in a church and he volunteers in a church. You're talking to the wrong people, man.
Okay, so Broncos Seahawks. If Darnold's not having his Darnold game against Seattle, he's definitely having it against Denver.
When's the last time we had a 1v1 in the Super Bowl?
It's been a while. So I think we're all in agreement, obviously, Broncos over Seahawks.
Yeah, all right.
Another fitting game, though, because Bo Nix starts his NFL career against Seattle. Obviously, the Broncos want to right a lot of wrongs, with Super Bowl 48. And we do it with Sean Payton at the helm. I'm all for it. I will say this. It should also be fitting on a game like that, if it's the Broncos against the 49ers, Broncos against the Seahawks, that we win that Super Bowl. No ifs, ands, or buts. 43-8.
Nice.
Woofta.
Love it.
Listen, and I'm not sitting, like, as much as I'd want to, I'm not sitting here saying that the Broncos are the best team in the NFL, because I don't know. I mean, maybe they are. I think playoffs, a lot of the playoffs is seeding and like who you match up with. And if everything plays out, I'm a little busy. Can I finish? Hey, bye. In the playoffs, it depends on who you're matched up against. And if everything plays out the way that we put it in there, Denver's got favorable matchups until we get the AFC Championship.
I mean, I said I thought that the Broncos were the best battle-tested team in the NFL. Does that necessarily mean they are the best NFL team? Not necessarily, but it's quite a lift for you when you've had the fourth quarter comebacks and the amount of fourth quarter comebacks that you won and the teams that you've beaten along the way, like the runner-up to the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl champion. Yeah, Washington's had a down year, but they played in the NFC Championship game, right? So the Green Bay Packers, they've beaten divisional opponents, leaders and everything on some of these games. They have proven time and time again they can win any style of game. Between this last year and this year. They have won any kind of style of game. So I don't know. I definitely do agree. Because like that was like I would say that was my number one. We didn't record, but like that was my number one takeaway with the Jaguars and the Broncos game more than anything was the AFC is wide open. Like the AFC is wide open. So you're an idiot if you don't recognize that. But like, but of all the themes, that Denver is the one I trust the most because of how battle tested they are.
Anthony V says, who or what would you guys say the final would be? If we're talking Super Bowl Broncos versus Sea Chickens, I'm going to go like 23-21 because that's how all of our games end up. Like one score, we got to win it with a field goal at the end, something like that.
I'm with you.
Just for vibes and just for the views, I'm saying 43-8.
Wow.
That would be beautiful. It really would.
That really would be. And the first play offensively for the Seahawks, the ball goes flying over Darnold's head.
And then
it would be the ultimate payback for not just the Super Bowl, but also the Russell Wilson trade. Because there are still players from that trade like that they got with their draft picks that are on that team. So that
and you know what? I hope that Darnold. Well, I don't hope, but
you want to see Drew Lock, don't you?
I hope that Sam Darnold gets injured just so he can't play in the Super Bowl, and the Giants drop Russell Wilson, and the Seahawks pick up Russell Wilson, and he's the one playing in the Super Bowl, and the ball goes flying over his head.
And
it's our mistake.
And I was going to say, and then you have to add the other layer to this. Then Seattle tries a pooch kick to begin the half because the Broncos deferred and Seattle gets the ball. Then after half, Marvin Mims takes the pooch kick and returns it for a touchdown to begin the half, just like Percy Harvin did in the 43-8 game. So, yeah.
And then the Seattle Seahawks running back gets injured, so they decide to give Marshawn Lynch a call. They get down to the 1-yard line and throw the ball.
This also means,
and then we pick it off.
This also means too, right? So, like, if we're gonna go with the 43-8 game and how it's gonna happen, I'm speaking it into existence. That means that Seattle also has to miss Charles Cross. Charles Cross has to go down with an injury, like an ACL injury, because that was Ryan Clady, right? Like Ryan Clady missed that entire Super Bowl, and so then they also have to lose like Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams has to go down with a rather significant injury.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Because that's what it'd be. It was DeMarcus. Leonard Williams. Just because like Derek Wolfe was injured, he couldn't partake in that Super Bowl.
Vaughn was down too in that one.
Yeah. So probably Lawrence or maybe some like their elite pass rusher. Also, I think a corner went down. So Devon Witherspoon would have to go down. Right. So like I need this to happen. Like just from just the views, the vibes, like everything else. And then Drew Lock or whoever it is comes in.
Drew Lock ain't going to play like Peyton Manning. Drew Lock is more likely to play like Paxton Lynch than he is Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Or Jamarcus Russell, if you want to go.
Geno Smith.
Or Geno Smith.
The Raiders,
right. I think that about covers it. We're a little over an hour and a half. This is a long one, but it's been fun. We appreciate every single one of you for joining us in the chat. Make sure you head on over to the MHRT Network YouTube page, hit that like, subscribe, thumbs up, and you can hit that join button. It gives you all the options right there. Also, head over to Broncos Syndicate, hosted by Gage Madrid, and do the exact same thing. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit that join button. It'll give you all the options right there.
And check out our Patreon, too. They pay more than YouTube.
Check out the Patreon, and I'm assuming you're going to do a TikTok at some point, like I suggested.
I have it.
Right?
I already have.
Yes!
It's under Sparking Over Broncos. It's not under the Syndicate brand.
There we go. Then you got shows on the network Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the neighborhood on game days. And one of those shows on Wednesday night is Mainly Broncos, hosted by Cameron Parker. So make sure you check out that show as well. It'll be on the network as well as on the Mainly Broncos channel and on Cam's and Jordan's and Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brandon's. And then Mainly Broncos Twitter. So they're on like 85 different channels. So make sure you check that out. It's great. We love you guys. We love the Broncos. We will see you guys once the playoffs kick off because we only got one more week. We will see you then. We love you guys. Peace out.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down.